The security camera froze on one final frame before the power cut out. On the screen was Santa Claus, not a decoration, not a costume hanging on a hook, a full Santa suit, standing in the living room at 2:17 a.m., facing the camera. The red coat was dirty, darker in some places, like it had been dragged through snow and mud. The beard hung unevenly, clumped together as if it were wet. Santa's head tilted slowly to the side. Then he raised one gloved finger and pressed it gently to his lips. The video ended there. That was the last thing the police found on the family's home system. No signs of forced entry, no broken windows, no alarms triggered, and no Santa decoration in the house matched that suit. The incident was never meant to be recorded. That was what the police report said. But somehow the footage existed, and once people saw it, no one could forget it, especially not Lily. 3 weeks earlier, the house was full of light and music. Lily Thompson loved Christmas more than anything. She was 8 years old and had already circled every toy she wanted in 3 different catalogs. Their small home in suburban Illinois glowed with decorations. Lights lined the roof. Plastic rain dough stood in the yard. A big inflatable Santa waved happily near the front door. Inside, the trees sparkled with ornaments and tinsel. The fireplace crackled softly. Everything felt warm and safe. Lily's parents, Mark and Rachel, sat on the couch watching a Christmas movie. Lily lay on the floor with her notebook, carefully writing her letter to Santa. "Make sure you spell everything right," Mark said with a smile. Lily replied seriously. "Santa notices that." Rachel laughed. "He sure does." They had installed security cameras earlier that year after a few break-ins nearby. Just simple cameras. One at the front door, one in the living room, one in the backyard. Mark liked knowing he could check his phone anytime. That night, the snow started falling just after dinner. Big, slow flakes that made the whole neighborhood quiet. Lily pressed her face to the window. "It's perfect Santa weather," she whispered. Rachel smiled but felt a small chill for no clear reason. She blamed it on the cold glass. Later, Lily was tucked into bed with her favorite blanket. A small nightlight shaped like a star glowed softly beside her. "Santa won't forget us, right?" Lily asked. "Never," Rachel said, kissing her forehead. Mark turned off the hallway light. "Sleep tight. Big day tomorrow." As they closed Lily's door, something outside the house moved. The front yard camera picked it up first. At 1:58 a.m., a figure appeared at the edge of the frame. Tall, wide shoulders, red fabric barely visible under the falling snow. The figure stood still for almost a full minute. Then it stepped closer to the house. Inside, Lily woke up suddenly. She sat up in bed, heart pounding. She wasn't sure why she woke up. The house was quiet. Too quiet. Even the wind seemed to have stopped. Then she heard it. A soft thump. Then another, like boots stepping onto the porch. Lily's eyes widened. She slid out of bed and tiptoed to her door, opening it just a crack. The hallway was dark. From downstairs came a low sound. A deep breath. Slow. Heavy. Lily's heart jumped. "Santa," she whispered. Downstairs, the living room camera turned on. The tree lights flickered once, then steadied. The room looked empty at first. Couch. Tree. Fireplace. Then the back door handle moved. Slowly. Inside the bedroom, Mark stirred. He reached for his phone on the nightstand when a notification buzzed. Motion detected. Living room camera. He frowned and tapped the alert. The video loaded. At first, nothing seemed wrong. Then Mark sat up straight. Someone was standing just outside the camera's view. He could tell because a shadow stretched across the floor, long and thin. "Rachel," he whispered urgently. She woke instantly. "What is it?" "There's someone in the house." Before she could respond, the back door creaked open on the screen. The figure stepped inside. Santa Claus. But something was wrong. The suit was too big. The movements were stiff, almost careful. The beard hid the face completely, but the head didn't move like someone looking around. It moved like someone who already knew the room. Rachel covered her mouth. "That's not funny," she whispered. "Mark, call the police." Mark's fingers shook as he reached for his phone. Down the hallway, Lily crept closer to the stairs. She could see the glow of the Christmas lights below. She smiled. "Is he?" she thought. She took one step down. The floorboard creaked. In the living room, Santa's head snapped toward the stays. The camera caught it clearly. The way the head moved was fast. Too fast. Santa turned fully toward the staircase. Then he raised his hand slowly and waved. Upstairs, Mark heard the creak too. "Lily," Rachel whispered sharply. Mark bolted out of bed and ran toward the hallway. "Lily," he called. At the same moment, the living room camera captured Santa taking one slow step forward. Then another. The sound of heavy boots echoed through the house. Lily froze at the top of the stairs, suddenly unsure. Her smile faded. Santa didn't feel right anymore. The figure stopped at the bottom of the stairs. Slowly, it looked up. The camera angle shifted slightly as the system tried to refocus. That's when Santa lifted one gloved finger and pressed it gently to his lips. Upstairs, Mark reached the stair railing just as the power went out. The house went completely dark, and somewhere below, something began climbing the stairs. The darkness felt thick, like it had weight. Mark stood frozen at the top of the stairs, one hand gripping the railing so hard his fingers hurt. The house was silent except for the slow, heavy sound of boots on wood. Step. Pause. Step. Something was coming up the stairs. "Lily," Rachel whispered behind him, her voice shaking. She was holding her phone, the screen black. No signal. No power. "Don't move," Mark said softly, even though his heart was pounding so loud it felt like it might give them away. Down below, the boot stopped. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a deep breath filled the stairwell. Long, careful, almost patient. Lily stood 2 steps down from the hallway, her small hands gripping the banister. Her eyes were wide now, filled with confusion and fear. She could barely see anything, just shapes and shadows, but she could feel it. Santa was not Santa. "Daddy," she whispered. Mark's chest tightened. "Lily, come back to me." Slowly. She took one small step up. The floorboard creaked. From the darkness below, the breathing stopped. A soft sound followed. Not a word, not a growl, a quiet chuckle. Rachel felt her knees weaken. She grabbed Mark's arm. "That's not human," she whispered. The chuckle faded, replaced by the sound of fabric brushing against the wall as something shifted its weight. Then the boots began moving again. Faster now. Mark didn't think. He moved. He lunged forward, grabbed Lily around the waist, and pulled her back into the hallway just as a red-gloved hand reached the top step. The hand was wrong. The fingers were too long. The glove stretched tight, as if something underneath didn't fit the shape it was pretending to be. Mark slammed the bedroom door shut and locked it. He pushed the dresser in front of it while Rachel pulled Lily onto the bed, wrapping her arms around her. "It's okay," Rachel whispered, even though she didn't believe it. "It's okay." Outside the door, something stood very still. They listened. No footsteps. No breathing. Nothing. Seconds passed. Then minutes. Mark slowly backed away from the door, keeping his eyes on it. He pulled his phone from his pocket and tried again. Still dead. "Daddy," Lily whispered, her voice small. "Santa waved at me." Mark closed his eyes for a moment. "That wasn't Santa," he said gently. A soft knock came from the other side of the door. 3 slow taps. "Knock! Knock! Knock!" Rachel gasped and covered Lily's ears. The knocking stopped. Then a voice spoke. "Lily," it said. The voice was deep, rough, and wrong. It sounded like someone copying what they thought a friendly voice should be. "I know you're awake." Mark stepped in front of the bed. "Go away," he shouted. "The police are coming." The voice laughed quietly. "No one is coming," it said. "The cameras already saw what they were supposed to see." Mark's stomach dropped. "What do you want?" he demanded. There was a pause, like the thing outside was thinking. "I brought a gift," the voice said. "I always do." Something slid across the floor outside the door. A soft scraping sound. Rachel stared at the small gap under the door. A shadow moved there, back and forth, like something being pushed closer. The smell came next. That same strange smell Mark couldn't place. Old, cold, like winter air trapped in a box for too long. Lily buried her face in her mother's chest. Make it go away, she cried. The door handle turned slowly. Mark grabbed a lamp and raised it, his arms shaking. The handle stopped turning. Then footsteps moved away. Fast. Too fast. Silence returned, heavier than before. Minutes passed again. Maybe longer. None of them spoke. None of them moved. Then, from somewhere downstairs, the living room camera clicked back on. The power returned in a soft hum. Lights flickered in the hallway outside the bedroom. Mark didn't relax. Not even a little. He moved to the door and pressed his ear against it. Nothing. Slowly, he unlocked it and opened it just enough to look out. The hallway was empty. The stairs were empty. The house looked normal again. Too normal. Stay here, Mark whispered to Rachel. Lock the door if anything happens. He stepped into the hallway, moving slowly, every sense sharp. He made his way down the stairs, his eyes locked on the living room. The Christmas tree lights glowed softly. The present sat untouched beneath it. No Santa. Mark exhaled a shaky breath. Then he saw it, on the floor, right in front of the camera. A single red glove. He bent down and picked it up. It felt stiff, cold, and damp, like it had been outside for a long time. That's it, he muttered. I'm calling the police right now. He turned and froze. The front door was open. Snow blew lightly into the house, melting on the floor. Footprints led from the door to the tree. And stopped. Mark's phone buzzed in his hand. A notification. Motion detected. Living room camera. His heart dropped. He looked up at the camera screen on his phone. The camera view showed the living room, the tree, the couch, and Santa Claus standing behind him. The suit was cleaner now, neater, like it had fixed itself. Santa leaned close to the camera, filling the screen. Then the figure reached up and slowly pulled the beard away from its face. Mark screamed and dropped the phone. Upstairs, Rachel heard the scream. She grabbed Lily and ran to the window, throwing it open. Cold air rushed in. Help! She shouted into the night. Below, Mark's scream cut off suddenly. Rachel's heart shattered. She pulled Lily toward the window, ready to climb out, when a shadow fell across the bedroom wall. Slow, tall, wearing a pointed red hat. Rachel turned just as the bedroom door creaked open. Santa stood in the doorway, and this time he wasn't smiling.